Hey guys, this is True Cubing, and in this video we're going to teach you how to solve the Megaminx. So just before we start, I'd like to say you should be quite comfortable with how to solve a 3x3. If you don't know, I'll just link the tutorial up here. So the first step in solving the Megaminx is to solve a star. So I'm going to do white. So first we have to look for all the edges that belong on that star, that belong on that layer. We can see one here, two here, and one back here. So we can do this one by one. I'm going to start by moving this one all the way over to here, like that, to solve this one. Next, we can do this blue one, for example. We can bring this down. And now we need to put this white sticker up here, so we can move this across, bring it up, and bring it back. Next, I can see this edge. We need it to go over here, so what we can do is move this position over, bring it up, and move it back. And now we need to look for our last two. They're over here. What we can do is move them all the way over and match it up like this. Move it down here. Note, if the edge is like this, all you need to do is unsolve one of these edges while matching up this color here on the side, and then bringing back down this edge and bringing that back. Our final edge is over here. We can just bring it up, move it all the way across, and now we can bring this down like that. So now that we've got our star, the next step in solving the Megaminx is to solve these F2L pairs. So you can also solve the Megaminx by using beginner's method, where you insert the corners and then the edges, but it'd be much faster if you can use F2L. So in this tutorial, I'm going to teach you with that. So what we've got to do is look for a corner and an edge that belong together. So here I can see these two pieces, which belong all the way over here in this slot. So we can move this corner all the way across until it's on this top layer, which is right next to this slot. And we can do the same to the edge. So it's over here. We can move it like that, and now we've got our two F2L pieces on this layer. Now what we can do is use our regular F2L algorithms to solve the pair. So what we can do is match up this side color, then hide it, bring this corner on top, and bring this back down, and now we can just insert our pair. The next pair I saw this corner, and the corresponding edge is over here. So what we can do is just move that edge over here, and now we can just insert it using our regular beginner algorithm. Next pair is these two. We can move this corner over here to the top layer, and now we can bring this edge over here. So you want to be careful now that you don't just insert this edge to the top layer here, because you'd unsolve this one. So what we need to do is move this one across and now bring this edge down, and now we've got our two pieces that need to be inserted here. We can use our regular F2L like this to pair them up and then insert them. You basically just have to do this with all your F2L pairs. I'll just quickly go through what I'm going to do. So we can bring this corner down to have this pair ready to be inserted here. And we can hide this corner, bring this edge over here, match it up, and now we can insert that pair. The last pair is this corner and this edge. So this edge is basically here now, and now this corner just needs to be brought up to this layer. Now we can match up this edge, hide it, bring this on top, bring it back down, and then insert the pair. Now this can be tricky getting used to the colors, but it's just like being color neutral on a 3x3, it just takes practice and getting used to. The next step in solving the Megaminx is to solve your S2L. So S2L stands for your second two layers, and it's basically the rest of the cube except for the last layer. So how we're going to do this is we're going to work color by color. First, I'm going to choose, for example, the red color. And now what we need to do is find these two edges to create a sort of another cross on the Megaminx. So one of our edges is already here, and the other one is right here. So that was pretty easy. You can just insert it like that. You may also need to find the edges around the cube and bring them over here, but it's the same concept as building the star. Next, we need to build the F2L pairs around this star. So these three. Our first pair is this one and this edge, which belong down here. So we can bring this edge onto this layer, and now we can insert this pair by hiding this corner, bringing this edge here, and bringing this back up, and now we've got our regular 3 mover. Our next pair is over here. We've got this edge, we can move it to the top like that, and this corner. Again, we don't want to do this because this edge gets put out of the top layer, so we need to move this edge across. Now I can bring this back up. Now we do our F2L pair, so we can split it up like this, and then pair it up by hiding the corner, bringing the edge on top, bring it back down, and inserting the pair. Our final pair is this one here, so we need to look for these two pieces. This one's already on this layer, and now we just need to bring this one down, and now we can insert it by hiding this edge, bringing the corner on top, bringing it back down, and inserting it. Now that we've built our red layer, we can do the same thing for the green. So this edge needs to be put in here. We can do something by like taking this edge out, and now it's correctly oriented, so we can hide it like that. Our F12 pairs are here and here, and for this one, our edges and corner are right here, so we can hide it, match it up, and then just insert it like this. The next pair for the green layer is this one and this one. We can do something like this, and now we've got our regular 3 mover. Again, we repeat this process for the purple one until we get to our last center. So I'll just go through it quickly. This edge going down here, this pair here, we can split it up like this. Now we've got our pair. Match up this edge and insert it. Our last pair is here and here, which belongs in here, so we can do like that. Hide this corner, bring this edge over, bring it back down, and insert the pair. Now we're on our last center. So how we're going to do this is we're going to solve one of these two bottom edges. In this case, it's going to be easier to solve the blue one. So all we need to do is move this across and do a sort of sledgehammer like that to put this edge into here. Now what we're going to need to do is solve this bottom pair. And to do that, we're going to have to move this layer up so that this pair is put on the side. And now we need to solve the pair by imagining that we need this pair here. So this pair has blue on the bottom and then yellow here and green here. As when it was in this position, that's what it looked like. So it's this pair right here. We can take it out and put it back in. And now we can resolve, and now we have a 2x2x3. Now we need to solve our last two pairs here and here. This one, we can hide the corner, bring the edge on top, bring it back up, and then insert it into the back, like that. Our last pair is here. We can take out this corner and put it onto the top layer, and now we've got this case. And now you've solved your S2L. Now when you get to your last layer, we're going to be solving it in 4 steps. You're going to orient your edges, and then permute your edges, and then we're going to orient your corners, and then solve your corners or permute them. So the first step is to orient your edges. So we're going to use the same algorithm as on a 3x3 when you're orienting your edges. So the algorithm goes F, R, U, R prime, U prime, F prime. And you can use this algorithm over and over again to solve it. So what this algorithm does is it changes the orientation of these 3 edges. So when we've got one edge solved, we put it onto this position on the left and then perform that algorithm. F, R, U, R prime, U prime, F prime. And now we've got 3 edges solved. When you've got 3, what you can do is move them to the back position here. Do that algorithm. And now you're going to have 3 in the arrow shape like this. When you've got it, you place yourself like this and do that algorithm again, and you've oriented your edges. Those were all the 3 cases you can get. So the next step in solving the Megaminx is by far the hardest step of the last layer. So you have to find at least one solved edge and put it in this left position over here. So we can do something like this to solve this one here. And now what we've got to do is solve the back one over here. So in this case, the back edge here is the gray and pink one, which is over here. If that edge is in one of these 2 positions, you need to use the soon algorithm, like on a 3x3. R, U, R prime, U, R, U2, R prime. And that will cycle these 3 edges. Like that. This edge is here now, and we can do it again. And now these 2 edges are solved. If, however, this back edge was in this position here, you'd have to rotate until the solved edge is in front of you and do that soon algorithm. R, U, R prime, U, R, U2 prime, R prime. And now you have that case before where the edge is in one of these 2 positions. You just need to repeat the soon algorithm until it's solved. And now you have 2 edges solved. Now you need to rotate until the 2 solved edges are here, and perform that summa algorithm until all your edges are solved. So we can go R, U, R prime, U prime, R, U2 prime, R prime, and now all your edges are solved. You may have to repeat this algorithm once or twice, depending on the case. The next step in solving the last layer is to orient your corners. So what we need to do is rotate upside down and put an unsolved corner in the bottom right position here. Now we need to use the sexy move, which goes R, U, R prime, U prime, over and over again until we solve each individual corner. You may have to perform this sexy move algorithm 2 or 4 times, depending on the orientation of the corner. In this case, let's do it twice. And now we see that it's solved. So now what we need to do is move an unoriented corner into that bottom right position and perform that sexy move 2 or 4 times. That was twice, and now we see that it's unsolved. So we can do it again. And now it's solved. Again, we haven't finished solving all our corners. We need to orient this one. That was twice. We need to do it again twice. And now this last corner. And now you've oriented all your corners. The last step in solving the Megaminx is to permute the corners. So what we're going to do is use a commutator, or just simply put, taking out the corners and putting them back in a cycle. So the commutator goes R prime D R, and that takes out this corner and puts it here. Every second time we perform that algorithm, we have to perform the inverse, and the inverse is R prime D prime R. And we're going to use that algorithm to solve all our corners. So let's perform that algorithm once to take out this corner. And now we need to put the position where this corner belongs right up here by moving the U face. So this position is here, this corner belongs up here. And now we go R prime D prime R. And now we need to solve this corner. So we move this position over here and perform the regular R prime D R. And now we need to solve this corner. So we do U prime to put this position here. And now perform the inverse R prime D prime R. And now we need to solve this corner over here, R prime D R. And our last corner is over here, R prime D prime R. And now you've solved your Megaminx. Instead of having a 5-corner cycle, you could also have a 4-corner cycle. The concept is still the same, except there's one difference if you have a 4-corner cycle. So you perform that algorithm once to unsolve this one, and you solve this one again. Now we solve this one. And now you may be confused as there are no corners that we need to still solve, even though there are 2 unsolved corners up here. So what you need to do is perform the opposite of what you just did. So if you did the regular one, perform the reverse algorithm. And if you did the reverse one, perform the regular one. Here, I just did the regular one. So you need to perform the inverse by taking out this corner. And now we have an unsolved corner. So now we can continue as usual. Again, you can also have a 3-corner cycle, but this is very straightforward. Take out the corner. Put it back in, that one in, and put that one in. Thanks for watching this tutorial. We hope it helped. If you have any questions, leave them down below. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next video.